It's not just those folks in the USA that preach the word of their God to anyone who will listen. Despite it being over 50% non-religious, the UK still has some street folks that will grab anyone who will listen to them about the irrationality of atheism, the lies of evolution, and the theological emptiness of the incorrect religions. Maybe this is how we should respond to street preachers who think they're right. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. I'm taking this from the description of this week's video, but in this gripping exchange at Speaker's Corner, this one dude confronts a young atheist and exposes the irrationality of atheism, the lies of evolution, and the theological emptiness of another of the Abrahamic religions that just has slightly different wording. This religion seller pleads with the young man to seek truth in Jesus Christ, the God-man who apparently alone offers salvation. However, before finding out how to respond to a word salad like that, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe and the bell, and perhaps the algorithm will respond with more suitable videos in your feed. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos. Kevin, Angel Oramore, and Megatron Jenkins. And a big thank you to channel members who get access to Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. If you're not ready to witness atheism crumbling, look away now, I guess.
My point right now is Islam is a horrible religion. Brother Daniel, good to see you. Islam is a horrible religion. So even if you have a terrible time in your life, don't become a Muslim. But on the other hand, you should be a Christian. And there are good reasons as to why you should be a Christian.
Saying to an atheist that you shouldn't be a Muslim, but you should be a Christian, despite them both just being different flavours of essentially the same thing, is a little bit silly. But let's give him a chance. We've only just started the video.
I'm not particularly interested in becoming a Christian. I'm not that, I'm just not a very religious person.
That's fine. What I can say, what's your name?
I'd rather not say.
Sure. That's fine. But my young friend, let me put it this way. Ultimately, all of us clearly are here because of God. Yeah? We didn't just, jump out of nowhere.
No, we didn't just jump out of nowhere. How do you conclude that it must have been a god? We could all be here, obviously, because Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leave be upon her, pooped the universe into existence a few billion years ago. And because I've just asserted it, it must be true.
I mean, where did God come from?
Sure, but focus on this first point. There is no other rational explanation. There is only one rational explanation for the existence of human beings and other life forms on planet Earth, and that is God. That's the only rational explanation, quite logically consistent and good, coherent and so on, yeah?
Do you mean that there's only one that you accept as rational? Since science suggests no God was needed, you can deny science. You'd just be wrong to do so. It's far more rational, to me at least, to accept that natural demonstrable explanations are best, rather than undemonstrated sky being done it by magics.
And so there is a God, clearly. And God of the Bible, Jesus, in the person of Jesus and also prior to Jesus showing up on the face of the earth, demonstrated in multiple different ways, quite consistently and comprehensively, that God of the Bible is truly God. That has been demonstrated.
All I heard here was that the words in the Bible prove that the words in the Bible are true because that's what the words in the Bible say. And it's been demonstrated because that's what the words in the Bible say. Well done, dude. But when it comes to the Bible, no one cares!
And that is where, especially about the person of Jesus, I'd like to send you an ebook. I can send you a complimentary ebook if you email me. On the internet, on YouTube, our channel is called Operation Stephen. I don't unfortunately have my card immediately available. Operation?
Look, at the end of the day, I'm not that interested in.
Sure.
I'm just here to see debates.
Sure. But what I'd say to you, my dear friend, is I understand. I won't force you. But what I would say is I'd really encourage you to, before it's too late, for you to find out the perfectly legitimate inferences from the fact that there is a God. God.
I don't want to force you, but before it's too late, you have to believe in what I believe so that you can be saved from another thing that I believe that is equally as not demonstrable as the first thing I want you to believe. It's just this meme over and over, isn't it?
For you to find who that God is, so you can show gratitude and respond in an appropriate manner. And I'm going to tell you, in Jesus, we have perfectly good, legitimate reasoning to suggest that Jesus is God. And I can send you a resource. You can read at your own leisure.
Give me your email so I can inundate you with religious spam. It's like regular spam, but it's been baptised. Or, you could just say the thing now that is so glaringly obvious that this cool dude can't help but accept a God.
Would you please email? Info Operation Stephen is on YouTube. Yeah. And you don't have to follow up immediately, just email. I'll send you an ebook, and then later on in your life, when you have serious questions, you can read the ebook. Is it fine?
Did you convert to Christianity later in life?
No.
Oh, you were born into a Christian family?
Not born into, but early on, very early, I became a Christian, and I confirmed why I had to be a Christian multiple times in my life.
What religion are your parents from?
My mother was a Christian, my father was an atheist. An anti-Christian atheist, my father. My mother was a Christian.
Do you think your dad's in hell now?
No, my dad, he passed away a couple of years ago, but before he passed away, he became a Christian. So God bless him. Wonderfully became a Christian. Through God's grace, he will be fine.
Funny how he converted to the religion that surrounded him. It's just so weird how that happens, right?
And to you, my dear friend, I'm not forcing you, but what I'm saying is, I'll just ask one little thing, and then, I'll wrap up there. Do you think, for example, if you dropped a hat or something, or your phone, and if I pick that up, especially if you are unable to pick that up yourself, let's say you can't bend down or whatever, and if I did that for you and gave it to you, do you think it's a good thing for you to say thank you? To show gratitude is a good thing? Yeah, obviously. So gratitude or showing gratitude is a good thing. And that is all that I'm asking you to do when it comes to God.
I want you to say thank you to the thing I believe in because I believe in it. And it would make me feel better if you did.
If there is a God, we have a requirement to show gratitude. If we don't show gratitude, it's not a good thing.
Well, show the God first. I don't say thank you to the people that didn't punch me in the face before they punched me in the face.
That's my fundamental premise. In other words, when you say you're not interested, my dear friend, my point to you is that's not showing gratitude to the one because of whom you exist today.
The one you believe is the reason this guy exists. You have a ton of demonstrating to do before anyone should be saying thank you.
Hey, lovely. How are you doing?
How are you? Are you an Indian man?
I am.
Yeah. So what are you preaching today? You're preaching.
I am speaking about Jesus. I'll just wrap up here.
Oh, Jesus?
Yeah.
You're not Muslim, or?
No, I'm a Christian.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
There aren't many Christians in India.
A few million. Now,
130 million.
More even. Maybe 300, maybe 400.
Over 1,000 million.
Maybe not that much, but
I have to dash.
Yeah, sure.
I have to get to my.
Sure.
I haven't been.
Are you a Christian yourself?
No.
You should be a Christian.
Well, I have been, but.
Please, can I say just one thing before you move? I need to wrap up with the gentleman.
Yeah.
On the internet, on YouTube, the channel is called Operation.
Yeah.
Stephen with the PH.
Yes.
Stephen with the PH. We do Thursdays, 6 p.m. live streams, and there is an email that you can email to, and we can we can have a conversation.
Well, what do you think about the Muslims, the Jews, the Hindus, and the Buddhists?
The Bible is reliable. Everything else unreliable. Everyone should become a Christian.
Assertion, but nothing to back it up. Yawn. Here we go again.
So please find out. Email.
Can't because they don't know.
Yeah, and one of that is you need to get to know. Please email. I'll give you enough information. So that's the important point. We need to show gratitude. That's the fundamental premise. And your reason to exist on the face of the earth today is God.
When are you going to prove that? You just keep saying it. The reason you exist here today is because of Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leave me upon her. She pooped the human race into existence. Duh.
You better find out who to show gratitude for that.
I mean, my parents, could I say it's the same thing about my parents? I exist because of them. If they hadn't, married and had me, I wouldn't exist, would I?
Sure. But your parents didn't make you out of nothing, yeah?
Oh, geez, even the British education system's failing us now.
I guess not.
Yeah. So and therefore, clearly, merely parents.
These are biological tools they were equipped with to do so.
Who equipped them with the biological tools?
Their parents. And then their parents. And then their parents. God, we could just play this game for hundreds of thousands of years worth of generations.
Nature?
Which nature? Which nature?
You would say God.
Which nature? Which nature? What in nature that you are aware of could give them the tools?
Evolution, I guess.
Okay, explain then. But I need a specific answer. What in evolution? Whatever you're going to describe reasonably comprehensively. What biological feature or what in nature that you are aware of could explain the coming into existence of reproductive tools from the non-existence of those reproductive tools? What in nature can explain that?
Instead of asking a fella who likely isn't an expert, may I suggest you go and check out Erica the Gutsick Gibbon or Forrest Valkai, who actually understand this stuff and don't rely on the very lazy answer of, my God, done it.
Well, I mean, like natural selection over time.
But please be specific. Don't just say.
I'm not about.
There's nothing in nature. There's nothing in nature which you can say, hey, look, that particular phenomenon will produce a reproductive, organ. Just wait and watch for 1,000,000 years. You'll find a reproductive organ. There's no such thing. This is all, a delusion that they feed.
You don't believe in evolution?
I don't believe in nonsense. I really don't.
You don't believe in nonsense? Hang on. You think that an invisible man one day got bored of being the only thing around and then poofed everything into existence and then later decided to give folks reproductive bits but made the men's very important parts temperature sensitive so they had to be outside the body where they're in a very dangerous position? Well, if the God created that, it's very stupid.
Evolution's nonsense.
Anything with no evidence is nonsense.
Well, scientists have found evidence of it.
I like science. I do science. But evolution, anything with no evidence is nonsense.
I almost get tired of saying that evolution is the most supported scientific theory. You just made yourself sound even more wrong.
There is nothing in reality that can explain the coming into existence of reproductive organs.
Yes, there is. You're just too ignorant to accept it.
Circulatory system, neural system, digestive system, all sorts of these systems. Nothing could explain how these could come into existence from a state of non-existence. There is nothing that can explain that. Evidentially.
I mean, presumably it took a very, very long time because they're extremely complex.
But there is nothing that can explain, even if you give 1,000,000 years. Okay, I'll rephrase the question for you. Is there anything you know outside of God who can, given 1,000,000,000 years, bring into existence a reproductive organ whilst it was not existent prior to that? Any feature in the entire reality that you are aware of which could do this?
Evolution is the explanation for it. Sorry if you don't like that. Sorry if it means your God isn't needed, but that's just how it is.
At first people organisms may have reproduced a bit more simply.
No. I don't want fancy stories.
I'm not a biologist.
Well, if you don't, that's fine. But please read up on this. There is no such thing. All you have are Mickey Mouse stories.
Projection, Your Honour. All theists have a Mickey Mouse silly stories.
Oh, this could have happened.
You believe we're all descended from Adam and Eve?
I believe in history. I believe in evidence. Yes. According to evidence, Jesus died, came back alive.
No, but if you go back...
According to your evidence, you have got none to explain how life could come into existence from non-life. You have nothing. I have a significant input in Jesus. That's just a starting point. I have much more than just in the person of Jesus. Throughout history, God has been demonstrating His supernatural power in multiple different ways. So I have arguments from historical evidence points. You have nothing. So you have nothing, I have many things. Who is the sensible person here?
You, I guess.
Good, that's it. We're going somewhere. That's lovely. No, if you have, not just you. You can ask Richard Dawkins if you like. You can ask any other such people if you like. There exists no feature that can be clearly defined today which can explain how reproductive organs or circulatory system or excretionary system or digestive system or nervous system or all these things. There exists nothing that can explain how these can come into existence from a state of non-existence.
No explanations? Well, just search on YouTube. There are tons of videos on the subject.
Nothing exists. And so all of these people are selling lies. And you've got, how old are you now?
17.
Okay, you're waiting to go into university. So please be careful. Don't listen to gibberish and simply not. Don't. When you go to uni, when anyone says anything, even if they are professors, lecturers, when they say, oh, evolution, this, that, ask them, give me evidence. Give me evidence. If you give me evidence, I'll accept to what you're saying.
Well, that's exactly how I feel about your God, my man. Give me evidence.
If you can't give me, I'll say you're delusional and you're selling me a lie. This is important, and we now need to move on. My point is, please email, my dear friend. Please email, and I'll give you a complimentary copy of this ebook. Please email. You need to learn. You haven't got a clue. Haven't got any evidence.
Maybe I'll leave it. But let me pose you a question.
Sure. One last question.
Okay. Do you believe that we're all descended from Adam and Eve?
We all descended, yeah. That's the only perfectly explicable explanation as to why we are here.
Okay, evolution can explain why people...
Evolution is nonsense.
No, evolution can explain why people have different skin colours. Because people who have darker skin usually grow up in hotter, sunny climates, where they might have been more risk of things like skin cancer and whatnot.
Sure.
So they evolved to have more like.
Okay, my dear friend, I need to stop you here. Hey, look. If you were to give me that story, and if we are going to make Hollywood movie, I wouldn't invest a penny in that.
Very eloquent, sure.
No. You are an eloquent man. No, even if you're Shakespeare, which you very well might be, even if you're Shakespeare, a story which doesn't have meat is a story which doesn't have meat. And that is your problem. Your problem is not that you're not a Shakespeare. Your problem is that your story is non-saleable.
Suddenly, when a God isn't needed, it's nonsense. Despite there being tons to support evolution, you just saying there is none is pretty much the Kent Hovind approach. And we all know how that goes.
My point is this. You told me evolution can explain the difference in skin color. Give me one bit of detail, but you need to give me detail, not story, not fancy ideas. Give me one process in nature which can explain why human beings have a skin to begin with, please. There we go. So, in other words,
I'm not a biologist.
That's why we got a skin.
Well, look, I need £1 million to survive today. No one is giving me £1 million. So just because I need something, it doesn't mean it shows up.
No, you don't need £1 million.
Okay, maybe not £1 million, maybe £10,000. Maybe £100,000. Look, all that I need, no one is giving. Just because something is needed, it doesn't show up.
Is he just making crap up now? This is the reason that no one accepts what theists have to say. There's just no good reason to accept a God. But I guess they kind of know this, so they just attack the next best thing for them, which is evolution. And that has nothing to do with atheism anyway. And many God believers accept evolution. Well, it seems as though all this boils down to, I need it to be my God, and so every explanation there is for all this is in my book. But guess what, mate? When it comes to your Bible... no one cares! Maybe this isn't the best way to respond to a street preacher. And maybe it is. All I know is there's still no reason to accept a God. And maybe the best way to deal with this kind of annoyance is to just walk away. Was there anything here to suggest that gods exist and atheism crumbled? Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as another street fella not doing their job very well. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon. Dark Ether Piao, Tamo, The Barely Bearable Atheist, George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockhart, The Enixes, Jakari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech Fred, Rick and Stylistic Matthew, as well as all the $3 base ticks and new channel members. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description, along with links to all my other socials. Or become a member by hitting the join button below this video for access to Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.